Hello and welcome to the channel. I am here for a discussion video for you guys, and I figured that I would talk about it since it's a rumor, but it's apparent that Iron Maiden is going to be coming out with a new album in the year 2020. Now, like I said, this is just a rumor, this isn't really confirmed or anything yet, but there is a likelihood of it happening, of course, but for right now it's a rumor, so, before you guys get too excited and stuff, I figured that I would just make a video on it since it's been rumored, and I guess kind of the things that I would expect personally myself and some of the stuff that I hope from the next Iron Maiden album. But yeah, so I figured it would be fun to talk about, just a little discussion about the next Iron Maiden album. But yeah, now I know a lot of people really do give praise to Iron Maiden's last album, The Book of Souls, and I'm sure, because of the reception of that album, I think a lot of people are either on the side that say, oh, whatever they have next, it's going to be amazing because, Maiden from this point on is just, an amazing band. Either that, or there's some people that might not be on board with Iron Maiden coming out with another album, because I have heard people say that they want The Book of Souls to be their final album, which I personally can't understand, but it is what it is, of course. Now, my opinion is actually pretty unpopular when it comes to the Book of Souls album. I don't think that album is actually as great as a lot of people say it is. I think it's a super overhyped album. Now, do I think the album is bad? No, not at all. But it's far from, amazing or anything. But there's still, a few good songs that I like from it, of course. I've always liked the title track and Speed of Light, of course. Those were songs that, I still go back to sometimes. And I know everyone likes to make a big deal out of the song Empire of the Clouds, and some people might say, well, if you don't think the album is amazing, you clearly haven't heard that song. But I don't even think that song is, as great as a lot of people say it is. I don't think it's a bad song, but it just drags on for way too long. Like, I think that song would have had a lot more effect on me if the song was a little bit shorter, of course, but yeah, and I think that's a big problem with the Book of Souls album too, and I think that's one of the reasons why I've never been the craziest about it like a lot of people are. It's just an album that drags on for too long, and with that being said, I think, therefore, that would give me some concerns with the next Iron Maiden album. I definitely hope that the next Iron Maiden album is not a double album. I think they should, stray away from that on their next release, which I think they'll most likely do. I mean, I can't see them making another double album, but I could be wrong about that, of course. It could very well be another double album, but who knows? Now, one of the things that I do have hopes for with Iron Maiden's next release is, it does seem like ever since the Book of Souls, the band has not gotten, better per se, but gotten better than the last couple of releases. Like, while I do think the Book of Souls is an overrated album, I know I don't have really the most popular opinion on that album, but I do think that album is better than A Matter of Life and Death and The Final Frontier. So, if this is some kind of trend that, like, from that point on, Iron Maiden is just going to be putting out better album after better album, you could say, then the next Iron Maiden album could probably be better than The Book of Souls, if that trend continues, of course. And I think either way, if this new Iron Maiden album comes out in 2020 or maybe 2021, whenever, I'd still be very excited for it. I mean, it would definitely be one of my most anticipated albums, for sure. I would, hands down, pre-order it, for sure. But I'm afraid of that, overhyped factor. I'm afraid it's going to be one of those cases where, of course, I'd be really excited for it because it's Iron Maiden, and I'd be, binging on the album, like, the first couple of weeks it releases, and then after a short while, it just falls off, because it may also lack the same problems that the Book of Souls always had for me. But yeah, but I do have hope for, you know, the next Iron Maiden album. I mean, I would hope for this next album they please the fans of all eras. You know, maybe throw in some, you know, vibes of their 1980s material. Maybe throw in some vibes of even their 90s material. I know a lot of people don't like the 90s era of Iron Maiden, but I personally do like that era. And of course, you know, a little mix of their, you know, more modern material. But I really want this next album to be like, kind of like a mix of all of that. Like something that pleases, you know, everyone. Because I think it could go off really well, I think. And like I said, if this trend with each album getting better and better continues, then again, I think this next album could be better than the Book of Souls. But, I mean, we'll have to see about that. I know there's a lot of people that, well, might not say that, oh, you can't top the Book of Souls since that's the best of their 80s material, but I wouldn't agree with that at all. Now, as far as the release date goes, like I said, it is just a rumor that it's coming out, you know, in 2020. I mean, if I were to guess in 2020, it would probably come out in the fall, which I believe that the Book of Souls also came out in the fall of 2015. So I'm more so counting for a fall release if it does come out in 2020. And if it was coming out in the first half of the year, I think we would have heard about it already. Like, we would have heard, like, an official announcement and things like that. So I am, you know, hoping for a 2020 in the fall release for the next Iron Maiden album. Now, there is one concern I do have as far as release date goes. One thing I've noticed about the last few Iron Maiden releases is in between A Matter of Life and Death and The Final Frontier, there's been a 4-year gap. And in between The Final Frontier and The Book of Souls, there's been a 5-year gap. So what I'm kind of concerned about, and what I'm kind of thinking is, maybe they're gonna, you know, extend a year with each release. Like, maybe instead of, you know, the next Iron Maiden album coming out in 2020, it'll come out in 2021. And that'll make it a 6-year release to just, you know, wait a year after. That's just kind of what it seems like to me with these last couple of Maiden releases. But, I mean, I could be wrong about that. I mean, it could very well be, could be another 5-year wait. But I think anything's possible in that regard. And, you know, I wouldn't mind, you know, a 6-year wait in between albums, in between the Book of Souls and the next album, if they take their time with this album. Like, if they, you know, are extending more time to make it good, I'm all for it, you know. Release it in 2021 if that's what you have to do, of course. I'd rather get, you know, I guess, Power Slave clone in 2021 per se, than get a Final Frontier clone in 2020 per se. So that's kind of the example that I would get. Basically what I'm saying is, as far as that example goes, is, you know, I think, you know, the more time, the better quality album, maybe. But who knows how much material this band even has done by now. But I guess we'll have to wait and see. But obviously, either way, if Iron Maiden does announce a new album, I would definitely pre-order it, and I'd be super excited for it. And if it does come out in 2020, it would probably be my most anticipated album of 2020, without a doubt. I mean, hands down. So, yeah, and I hope that Iron Maiden does continue on and continue to make music. There could be a chance that the next album they have could be their final album. Like I said, I know there's people that are saying that the Book of Souls is their last, but, I mean, we'll have to wait and see. I mean, if the Book of Souls does happen to be their last, then, oh well. But I think this band could do a lot more. They may only have like 1 or 2 albums left in their career, before they call it quits, because, well, obviously Iron Maiden's been around for a long time, so, I mean, there's got to be a time for them at some point too, so maybe 1 or 2 more albums up their sleeves, but we'll have to see. But I want to know what you guys think. Would you guys be excited for a new Iron Maiden album? And if so, what would you want it to be like? Like, are you wanting like a combination of all eras? You know, are you wanting them to continue some of the similar stuff that they did with the Book of Souls, and you know, continue with, you know, really long songs and, you know, orchestral elements and stuff like that you get in their modern material? I personally hope that they, you know, cut that out completely, and go back to the days of their 80s and 90s time. I feel like that would really benefit the band, I think, and it would have a more positive effect, in my opinion. But that's my video, guys. I want to know what you guys think, of course. Do you guys believe that there's going to be another Iron Maiden album in the year 2020? Or do you think, you know, they'll wait till 2021 or maybe even 2022? I don't know. Or do you think that the band is done releasing music? But either way, I'd like to know your thoughts. Thanks for watching, and have a nice day.